What we help organisations do is help them understand enough about the future and what's shaping it so that they can avoid their own Thomas Cook moment. I think what's happening is there's a number of, if you like, forces that are combining to create a perfect storm. So one is there's a natural shift going on in every industry as they start to adopt digital more. Digital is changing customer needs and behaviours. That's impacting existing players now. They're having to redesign their processes, redesign their business models. And it's a bit of a shock to the system because they've grown up with analog thinking. Technology was something they used. It wasn't the way they thought. Data wasn't their lifeblood. They're competing with people now who are born digital, who start with the data and say, what can we make possible with that? And so you see an Airbnb, they're not a hotel company, they're a data company, and their value comes from the volume of data they have and the ways they can exploit it. I think the second thing that's happening is that the waves of economic development over the last 20 years haven't led to equal benefits across society. So you're seeing some groups feeling like they've been really left behind. We're seeing a growth in the total amount of wealth owned by the top 1%. We're seeing in the UK a doubling of the wealth of the wealthiest, and then a lot of people getting poorer, growth in people using food banks. That's changing behaviours, and that's leading to a lot of disaffection in society, which has in turn driven the rise of nationalism. It's driven support for people like Trump, Bolsonaro, and in the UK it's driven, I think, at least in part, the whole Brexit movement. Thirdly, we're at a point where we've pushed the old systems as far as we can push them. Health service, social care, education, transport, infrastructure. They all now need serious attention, but we haven't got the brain power to do Brexit and deal with all of those. So there's a number of things that are all happening, and then society is really changing. People believe now that they can have what they want, when they want it, the way they want it. And again, the digital players are quite good at making us believe that that's what they're doing for us. A lot of other players are struggling to deliver that level of personalization, adaptation, and meaningful experience. And so all of these things are coming together. What it means is some players in the hotel sector are delivering incredible responses to that, really being quite innovative and creative in the propositions they're coming up with, also quite experimental. Others are lagging, and again, sort of having their Thomas Cook moment. And Thomas Cook is a great case study because for the last 10 years, they've been trying to work a strategy that was already running out of steam 10 years ago. The internet was already starting to penetrate travel. Customers were already starting to change where they wanted to go. It wasn't just Spain anymore. They were wanting higher levels of service and a more personalised experience. They didn't get that, and they just kept buying copies of themselves who were performing slightly less well. And there was nothing about their business that meant we have superior management, superior technology, superior operations, a superior service model, or superior distribution that can help us get a return on this. What it meant was they were borrowing more and more and having to try and service, 100 million in debt interest before they could even have any profit to invest back in the business. So they put themselves into a terrible bind, but I don't know that they're that different to other players in the sector who are, running similar kinds of strategies today. Oh, absolutely. If you look at the Times Top 100 today, or the Times Top 250, half of those firms will not be in that category. Half of the top 100 will be out of the category by within 5 years, and I'd say half of the top 250 will be out of the top 250 within 3 years. Either they get bought out, they just shrink, they go out of business. Something will happen to them that will mean that they're no longer seen as anywhere near as valuable in the world we're in. And I think the same will be true as hospitality. We won't need as many travel agents as we go more digital. We probably will see a consolidation of airlines. You can easily see a consolidation of hotel groups, partly driven by the people who borrowed the money to buy properties not being able to service their debt because their hotels aren't doing well, partly driven by savvy owners getting out before the market tanks. And then you'll see either, third-party investors buying up properties at, 50 to 60 pence on the pound. Or what you might see is the Hiltons, the Marriotts, the IHGs come back in and start to buy up more properties again, simply because they're cheaper now. And actually, if they don't have an owner between them and the customer, the whole cost of operation goes down. They're not having to return something to the owner. They can bundle up their total return, just from owning the property. And it may be that they just take the opportunity to really capitalize on a downturn in the markets to buy up a bunch of assets, and maybe in 5 years' time again they're selling them on. The trick will be whether they can find clever ways of repurposing the less well-performing assets, finding ways of using properties that are only 40-50% occupied, ways of bringing new models into existing businesses, turning them into pop-up retail, trying different things, creating vibrancy to drive new events into a city and new formats. I don't know that they're seeing that as their priority right now, but I think you'll see a shift quite quickly.